My name is Sarah. Welcome to the It's a Sarah podcast. Today is Monday, October 30 and 2023, and this is episode 115. I'm coming to you from the Netherlands, so excuse my Dutchy English. I love to knit, I love to crochet, and I love to talk, so that's the perfect combination for making this podcast. I make episodes in Dutch and in English, so be sure you pick the right one. Okay, I have a lot to share about my handwerk perikelen, my crafty adventures from last week. So let's start. Let's start with what I'm wearing. I'm covered in wool. It's that time of the year. I love this time of the year. It is autumn here. It's not very cold. It's 10, 11, 12, 13 degrees, I guess. When I went out for my morning walk in the forest, I didn't have to wear a jacket. I could walk in only my cardigan. I wear a short sleeve t-shirt under it, and only my cardigan and my shawl and my hand warmers, and that was enough, and I really loved it. I also love the cold weather, but then you have to put on so many layers. It's so time consuming, and this temperature is perfect for me. So I really love it. I am wearing my braided cabled earwarmers. It is a pattern by Jessica Kale. I'm wearing my Felix cardigan, and every time I wear it, I'm surprised by the love for a neutral basic cardigan. I must confess, I prefer knitting more colorful or maybe interesting patterns. It doesn't have to be the color. It also can be texture or cables or... Oh, it starts to rain. It's getting more cozy now. I had to put on my candle. I forgot. But to wear, I must say I prefer the basic ones. I pick them quite more often out of my wardrobe than the more impressing ones with color and patterns and all stuff. But it is not the most fun thing to make. It is lovely because I love the yarn and I love the easy peasy going on, but also a little bit boring. But I'm very happy with my Felix cardigan. I'm also wearing socks and leg warmers. I have a brown day today. My Hinterland dress, it is not made by me. It's made by my knitting friend Jessica. I will link all the stuff below. I'm still collecting courage to make my own one. My sewing adventures are not very positive. I have quite an issue with my sewing machine. We are not the best friends at the moment. I really wanted to declutter it a few days ago. I think I come back on that idea. I have a little tiny, very small, how do you say it? Sewing success? I will share that later in this episode with you. I need some small sewing success experience to collect the courage to make a bigger project. So I'm working on that, but very, very small steps. Cherish the slow stuff. It's not it's what I want to feel, that I cherish it. that I'm not too frustrated when it's taking too much time. But okay. Let's go to my first finished object. I have two, and they are both for my little niece. My little niece is the little girl of my sister and her husband. She is 2.5 years old right now, and so toddler size, and it's perfect for making garments. And I really want to make her all, but I have myself and my own family. But every now and then I'm in a good flow for her, and I finished 2 last week. The first one was not really a planned one. I even broke my own rule. It was my idea to do not reply for any test knitter or test crochet calls, because every time I see a lovely garment I want to have, and when it's when they are calling for testers, I dive in, and that's okay because I had a lot of fun and a lot of beautiful garments. But I also have a lot of patterns in my library that aren't knit ever or crochet ever, and they are a bit sad. When it's our turn, when do you make us? And I can hear them screaming and crying all the time, and I want to give them some love. So I thought, okay, no more test knitting or test crocheting for me the rest of this year, but I forgot. I was thinking about starting, no, I was not thinking about, I was planning to start a crochet garment for my little niece, the Granny Go Round Jumper by Claudine from the Iron Lamp. I have that pattern in my stash. A lot of designers, as a reward, do you say reward? As a thank you for testing their patterns, you can pick 1 or 2 patterns they already did release. So I had some patterns from Claudine in my library, and one of them was the kids Granny Go Round Jumper. The sweater, a top-down raglan sweater in the granny stitch, my absolute favorite stitch ever, I guess. And I do have a granny striped blanket on my needles from sock yarn scraps, but we do not really need a blanket extra in our lives. You can never have enough blankets, I know, but I wasn't sure if I want to spend my time on a blanket right now, because in autumn we all know that we want to make all the things for when it's really getting colder. Maybe more than in summer and spring, I don't know, or other things. So I don't want to lose time on a blanket. So I thought I will crochet her a sweater, a jumper. So I have the granny stitch. I love the granny stitch. I need a daily portion of granny stitch in my life to feel good, because it's always hard jumping to me, and I think it's a good idea to do something hard jumping every day, every hour. So it was my plan to start that granny jumper, and then Claudine posted her newest design on Instagram with a test crocheter call for a Granny Go Round cardigan, kid size. And I thought a cardigan would be better than a jumper. And then I thought, but you wouldn't reply for test calls anymore, Sarah. And then I thought, but I prefer a cardigan. I like it more than a jumper, and doesn't matter if it's a cardigan or a jumper. No, it doesn't. So I did reply. And I made it. It was a very quick, not a quick knit, a quick crochet project. I finished it in 1 week. I made the size 2 to 3 years old. And let me start with the yarn, because I used a yarn of which I have quite some in my yarn stash. I don't know if I told about it in my English episodes before. Those are the colors, and let me grab a label. A few years back, these are the colors, I think. Oh no, I did put them this way. Lovely colors. A few years ago, I helped in a little yarn shop, not in my town, but in a little village a bit further away. I could bike 10 kilometers of where I live. And I quit my job as a teacher, and I was thinking about starting my own yarn shop, but I wasn't sure. And then there was a lovely yarn shop, and I asked the lady, can I help you? Because I love to cuddle yarn. I love to organize the yarn and to put them on the shelves, and just can I come every Friday and help you? And she said of course. And it was a lovely lady, and we had so much fun, and I helped her, and we did crochet and knit together, and every now and then I looked when she had to do something else, how do you say it? I babysit the shop. And that felt very nice. But I also realized that having a yarn shop, owning a yarn shop, was not really something hard jumping to me. I really have respect for all the people who are owning yarn shops and are helping all the people with finding the right yarn. And I realized I did want the yarn shop, but I didn't want to help people all day. I just want to sit and knit. And that's one of the things you don't have enough time for when you own a yarn shop. So I helped, and a few years later she had to quit the yarn shop, and that was really sad, but it was what it was. And I could take a lot of yarn. Where shall I begin? When I begin with my crocheting adventure, my crocheting career, I did crochet with acrylic yarns, and very cheap acrylic yarns. I didn't have a yarn shop in my directly neighborhood, so I go to there is a warehouse, I guess, and I bought it there, and it was not good quality. It was good to start because I didn't want to invest a lot of money, and it was good to start, but I know better now, and that's okay. But when I helped in the yarn shop, I fell in love with the woolly yarns, and this is superwash yarn, superwash wool, and I was very happy. Especially the feeling, but also the colors. There were so many lovely colors. So when she closed the shop, I bought all the colors I loved for a very cheap price. And I have hundreds. I don't know, maybe it's a little bit less. It feels like I have hundreds balls of yarns. But then, so I thought I can knit my whole life, knit and crochet the rest of my life with this yarn. I never have to buy yarn again. And then I discovered this was not a perfect yarn. So I didn't regret, absolutely not. But for crocheting, this yarn is perfect. But for knitting, it doesn't stay. It is very pilling. It doesn't knit up nice. I don't know. It's quite a difference. I have made blankets with this yarn, and they are staying so beautiful and very nice, but the knitwear I made with it, it's not, I'm not very enthusiastic about it. So it is okay, but it's okay. It's called Anel Malmedy, and it's from Belgium, and it's a DK weight superwash yarn, 50 gram, 125 meters. But the pattern Claudine designed, she designed it with acrylic yarn because she works a lot with stylecraft yarns, and it is also DK weight, but I decided to use the woolly yarns, and I really love the colors. Her example I saw on Instagram had 4 colors and 1 color for every row, so I picked 4 colors. She also made a solid one, I guess, but I choose. Oh, doorbell's ringing. I know there is something to be delivered. Moment. Okay. Back again. I run up and down. No, down and up 2 stairs. So I'm a bit out of breath. I'm sorry. But here is my finished project. It is this very lovely and sweet kids granny go-round cardigan. And it is really hard jumping. Oh, I love the end result. It was such a fun project to work on. As I said, I don't know, I think I said it before. I finished it in 1 week. It's a very quick crochet project in the size 2 to 3 years old. It is a pattern from baby size till big kid size. It's quite a wide range, I guess. And it is top-down raglan, and I really love Claudine's patterns. I used the UK version. I don't know, sometimes he has a UK and a US version, but I don't think it is okay because the granny stitch, you are using the same stitch all the time, mostly. So it is absolutely fine. And I always am a bit overwhelmed when I see her patterns. For me, it was the first experience with a crochet pattern in English for a garment. Let me pick my version. I think this was the first one, my lowrider jumper. I made it earlier this year, and I was really impressed. Every time when I look at a pattern, I don't get it at all. There is happening so much. But when I'm zooming in and only take small steps, it is so clear. For me, it's don't do the thinking. Claudine did the thinking. You only have to do the doing. So it's very nice, even for a test crochet. It was step by step, small steps, and so clear. Her patterns are so clear and nice. And every time I make something crocheting, in the beginning I have no idea what I'm doing. Don't think, just do. And every time suddenly I see it. Oh, this is what I am doing. Oh, it's so clever and so easy peasy, and I really love it. I really love it. And it was also with this one. It was really, really simple and really fun. Because I did a new color every row, I had a lot of yarn ends to weave in. I wouldn't do that again, I guess. I would prefer maybe 2 rows per color. I love the look of it, but the yarn weaving, yeah, I did turn one of the yarn ends around, so weaving in as you go with the half of the amount of the yarn end, so that was nice. I could cut them off, but still it was a lot of work. But I love it. I love the color combination. It's so lovely on her. I did crochet the borders. I prefer the knitted borders, but Claudine's patterns are all crochet. And because I tested it, I decided to just crochet it and not knit it. And it was very nice and easy to do and lovely and quick. But I prefer the feeling and the look of the knitted borders. But yeah, it was just so much fun. And we really, it was just a lovely pattern. And I have several things to say. Let me start with my little niece, because I have I wanted to make pictures. I only at the back of our yard. I don't know how you call it in English, but we live in the city and we have houses in a row. So on both sides of our house there's another house. There's a whole row. And the street behind our street has also houses in a row. And the backyards are on the same side. And in between the backyards, there's a little way. It's very small. You can only go in by bike or by feet. Not with a car or anything. And the doors at the back of our gardens are there. So when we go by bike and we pick our bike out of the barn, do you say it like this? Oh, very little here, very little. And then we bike through that little way and we call it een brandgang, a fire way. I think the name of that is from earlier when the houses were from wood, and you have to have little ways so the firemen could go in with the water when there was a fire, because otherwise it all would burn down when there was a fire. I think the name is from that. But I always take my pictures from finished objects when it are garments on myself in the fire way. Do I say? And the door you always see with the old paint, it's not from our barn, it's from our neighbor's barn at the back. So I hope they won't replace it, because then or they will paint it in an ugly color. I don't think they have any idea that I make my pictures there. So it's quite fun. But I always make my pictures there because it's just nice to have the same spot. And I really would. I had the idea to take the pictures of my little niece also there, so it would be lovely. So we did, and we had quite some fun, because taking pictures of a 2.5-year-old is quite a challenge. I planned some distraction. I have my little. We call them kabouters, but in English you call them gnomes, I guess. I crocheted this little guy and his family a few years ago. I'm not a designer, but I was asked by a Dutch designer, and she wanted to publish a little book with little designs for a good charity. Do you say it like that? Charity. So I did design the crochet pattern. I was inspired by the Waldorf knitting. I was a Waldorf teacher at that time, and I really love the simplicity of the Waldorf designs. Just straight fabric, straight little knitting or crochet, and you sew it in one or another way, and you have a gnome or a rabbit or whatever. So I did that with crochet. These are all straight little crochet fabric, and then sew together, and you have something like this. So that was very lovely and very nice. So I picked those gnome family and brought them downstairs to distract my little niece a bit. But just before we started taking pictures, we have a basket with some toys for her, all toys from my children. And there was also, I don't know if you know it, in the Netherlands it was, I think last year or 2 years ago, it was a very popular toy for children. It was not really a toy, it was a plastic thing, and I think you call it Pop It, and with all the rounds, and you can push the rounds, and then that was it. So it was, all the kids were doing this, and it was kind of satisfying, I guess. I don't know, I did try, but I don't know, I didn't feel it. So, and you have them in all kinds of shapes and colors, and my one of my girls also had one in rainbow colors, and it was in that basket. So my niece found it, and I think she recognized it from her daycare or something, but because she was immediately doing this, and she was very fond of it. Do you say it like that? So she didn't want to give it away. But it was not really matching the woolly cardigan on the pictures, the plastic rainbow colored thing. So we were distracting her with the gnomes, and my father, her grandfather, was hiding them in between the tree. No, it's not a tree. In Dutch we call it struik. It's not a tree. It's not a plant, but in between the Hydra, which climbs against the wall. Yeah, but my father was hiding the gnomes, and we said, "Oh, where are they? Oh!" And she was, "Oh!" And my sister picked the rainbow plastic thing out of her hands. "Oh! Where are the gnomes?" And she was, and now where are the gnomes? And then she was distracted, and it all worked out very good. So we had quite some fun. But I made a little video of it, which I want to share with you. And I have also pictures on Instagram. I will share them tonight, I guess. But it was so lovely. She looks lovely. So let's take a look to the video. Okay, she's adorable, isn't she? Just as my own children, I choose to not film the face of my little niece. There's nothing more than I want to share her pretty face, just as I want to share the pretty face of my own children. But I think it's a good. I want to keep their privacy high, I guess. So that's why I don't do it. But it was very lovely. The only thing with this cardigan is that because I made it with woolly yarn, it's quite heavy. It's 50 grams heavier than when I would crochet it with the acrylic yarn, than the amount of yarn Claudine has written in the pattern. And it is it's feeling more like a jacket, I guess. And it's a little bit, it's not stiff, but it is also a different, this one I made with Holst Coast, and it's much more drapey than this one. So My sister said, I don't know if she really loves to wear it, maybe as a jacket, but not as a sweater. It's a bit too thick, I guess. But she really loved the look of it. And I said, it's okay if she doesn't wear it, because it was just for me a fun making thing. And my sister said, but I really love it. I said, you can hang it at the wall in her bedroom so she can look at it. And maybe when it's spring, she can wear it as a jacket. I don't know, we shall see. But the drape of this fabric is better than the drape of this. And this has nothing to do with the pattern, but with my choice of yarn. So maybe I will make another one for my little niece, but then with other yarn. I was thinking, let me finish this one. The pattern, I think it will be released mid-November. I, of course, will share it on my Instagram, but it's absolutely a great pattern, and I can absolutely recommend it. So, but do not choose my yarn. Oh yeah, no, you can choose yarn. I want to make one. I have the pattern for myself in adult size too, and I really want to make one in this yarn for myself, but it's more feeling like a blanket you can wear, because it's a little bit heavier. I have blankets in this yarn, and they are also little bit heavy, and that's not annoying, that's nice. But I can imagine for a child it's nice when it's a little bit more drapey. So I was thinking about making an adult size cardigan, granny go round cardigan for me, but also just for mainly my girls. My husband and my son, they are bigger and they wouldn't wear it, but it's always in winter quite cold during the day in our house. So when there's a cardigan, you can put on a pretty big cardigan as a blanket with sleeves, then I think it will make me happy, but also my girls, and making it will make me happy, definitely. So it was my plan to start that one, but something else came true. And I didn't want to tell you about today. I wanted to keep it for next week, but there was someone asking I did share it on Instagram, and someone was asking to my yarn choice, and I did start a new Ariana. And I will tell you why next week, and I will tell you all the details about this one next week. And I also want to give the credits, because I found my source of inspiration for the Ariana. I forgot, but I found her, and I also want to give her the credit. So I will do it next week. But I am making an Ariana. I'm still not, I don't know if it will be a cardigan or a sweater. I'm making my third Ariana from Lopi Einband. It's quite a specific yarn choice. I have also an opinion about the yarn, I guess, but I will tell you all about that next week, because I have too much to tell you about this week, but it's making me very happy. The colors, the feeling, it's really heart jumping. So another Ariana, they are so addicting. I also thought about making an Ariana in this size. How lovely would that be? I can use this one for sizing. Yeah, I need granny stripes in my life every day, every moment. So yeah, I also want to remake this one in a winter version. But the kids' granny go round jumper will come later this month. Oh no, not this month, still October. Later in November, and yeah, it's absolutely a fun and quick project. Crocheting is growing so much faster than knitting. It's absolutely amazing. Okay, I have another finished object also for my little niece. Where it is? It is living in this project bag that was gifted to me. Oh, this one, oh, I forgot to say, it's one of my favorites right now. It's made by Rochelle. She's a Dutch project bag maker, and she gifted to me. But I am matching, my favorite color is brown. So I am having a brown day today, and my project bag is matching my outfit very good. I think it's matching with my outfit every day. But I really love this fabric. It's vintage brown flowery fabric, and oh, if we are talking about hard jumping, this is definitely hard jumping to me. And this lovely project bag was gifted to me by Lila Indy this summer, and my second finished project is in it. I decided a few weeks ago, I want to have an, how do you say it in English? Let me think. In Dutch, I call it an on-the-go work, or an is always good work. Is always good project. For me, it's important that I always have an. Slow down, Sarah. I always want an. Can always. No, I'm struggling. I always want an always good project on my needles. That's what I want to say. And mainly those are socks, because they are always good and they are small, so you can put it in your bag and you can bring it with you everywhere without having a big amount of fabric or yarn with you. Just one sock yarn skein and tiny needles, and it's all good. It's always good. But I have quite some socks and I still want new socks, and there are people in my life that also are hoping that I will make them socks, and that's okay. But I thought, especially in autumn, I feel the need to make new stuff, garments, and I thought, can I make a garment that is always good, an always good project? Not too hard, not too big. And then I thought of a sweater for my little niece, because I made her a Novice sweater in March, I guess, or February. She really loves that sweater, and I thought, let me make her another one, because I had some stash yarn. And this is my stash yarn. It is from Lang Yarns, and it's Lang Yarns Soho, and it's a mix of merino yarn. It's a superwash yarn, merino yarn, and nylon and acrylic. 80% merino, and the rest is not. And I really love the colors. It's a variegated yarn and with some shiny pieces in it. And I had a sweater quantity of it, and I didn't want to give it away. I also didn't want to make myself a garment of it. And then I thought, maybe for my little niece it's perfect, because she will grow out. A toddler sweater is perfect, and because you have to wash it more often. And so I did cast on, and I used the Novice sweater Junior Mohair edition from PetiteKnit, because I had that pattern in my stash. I made one for my girl a few years ago, and this is it. Ta-da! It's I love the colors. It's very, very beautiful, very variegated, and yeah, it's just, I think it's nice. And I make it quite oversized, because most of the time I make the garments for my little niece quite short, too tiny. She grows out of it quite soon. So I thought, let me make a big oversized sweater, which she can fold the sleeves down, and maybe it's a little bit too long, but she can wear it until she's 8 years old, I guess. So it did work out pretty good. The sweater is for a DK weight yarn, but this is more a worsted weight. So I did follow the instructions for the 2 to 3 year old size in the DK weight, but then with a worsted weight, and I added some extra length to the sleeves and to the body, and it's the perfect oversized look. It's a very nice fabric. She has blonde hairs. It's looking adorable on her, and I also made a little video of that. So let's take a look. Let's take a look. I'm sorry. So as you could see, it is quite big, but the oversized look on that tiny human is really sweet and really adorable, and she was feeling very nice. And where the sweater was, the cardigan was a little bit stiff, a little bit thick, this is very flowy and drapey. So yeah, I think she will wear this a lot. So that's very hard jumping to me. I did I really love to knit sleeves, but there was some the sleeves were not growing. I don't know. Normally they fly off my needles, but this time they went so slow and I didn't get it. And then I realized, because you're knitting the sleeve straight, there are no decreases. You only decrease in the last round. There are no decreases. I didn't use my stitch markers. And then I realized that stitch markers for me are not only to mark the points where I have to decrease, they are also important to mark my motivation, mark my progress. So they really work as motivators. So then the point I didn't know that, but I forgot. And when I realized it, I put a stitch marker every 10th round, and it really works good for me, because the first rounds I knit away from the stitch marker, and the last rounds I knit to the stitch marker. Oh, just one round, and then I can hang another one. Oh, I almost have 10 rounds. Oh, now I will knit 10 rounds. It's just cutting it in pieces of 10 rounds works pretty good for me. And the moment I added the stitch markers, they flew off my needles again. It's really amazing that such a simple thing can add so much progress. Yeah, so much, yeah, and also so much fun, because I really enjoyed it more than before. So cut things in pieces, the small steps, it's really working out for me in my knitting, but also in other things, and it was a good reminder. I did knit with 3.75. I started for the ribbing. Later I changed to 3.3mm needles because it was too loose, but it worked out pretty good here. And 4.5 for the ribbing, for the fabric, for the stockinette. And it was really a fun and nice project. So now I have quite some left. I really want, the sweater weighs 251 grams. And I have 240 grams left. But my father really loved the color combination, so maybe I will cast on a hat. I'm not really a hat knitter. I did do hats, but not quite often. But now I thought, okay, let me knit a hat. I'm thinking of the Pearl Soho hat. I think the Knit One Pearl one, the classic ribbed hat, is that the name? And that will be a perfect way for on the go, an always good project. So maybe I will cast on that. I'm thinking about it. Okay, that was it. Now I can bring I have made also some adorable pictures, and I will share them on Instagram later this week. Let me think. Oh yeah, I did have a little sewing success. As I said, I was really struggling with my sewing machine, and I really need some success to feel motivated. And I was playing, no, I was not really playing, I was struggling, but I was testing some stitches on a little bit of the fabric left over. And then I thought, okay, let me make something of it. So I zigzagged the lines, and then I stitched over. I made a seam in it, and I had a proper piece of fabric. And then I realized that I was personalizing my Chaugu knitting needle cover. Knitting needle cover. In Dutch we say étui. That's a French word. I don't like. I showed it before because I did this several months ago. I colored the little tiny white flowers brown, and I added a piece of fabric, and I added some embroidery, and it is not that I think the Chaugu needle cover is ugly, but I also do not like it, and everyone is having the same. And for me it's always, I really love authenticity, not only by myself but for all the people. Do what you love and be who you are, and personalize my stuff is part of that, I guess. So it was really hard jumping for me to do that, and it was always my plan to work on the back. I already did the embroidery here, and now it was a good time. So I made a little embroider. I looked for an image, for some inspiration on Pinterest, and then I printed the little piece, and then I draw it over on a Fliso fix, on a That's a special fabric for embroidery, and when you can embroider over it, and when you wet your fabric, it disappears. So I did do that, and I used a little bit of. It's a bit of a mess now. It was a nice package of hand-dyed embroider yarn, and it's now quite a mess. But it's by a Dutch dyer, and she gave it to me when I was at the knitting event 2 weeks ago, and really lovely colors. So I used the colors. I also knit my Tolsta tee in her yarn. So this is the red tiger eye color I really love. Yeah, so it was really fun to do that. And also when I was hand sewing the fabric on my cover, I thought I have to pin it down so it will be straight. And then I realized I don't want to. I don't want it to be straight. I don't want to be that it was straight in line. It's okay when it's a little bit, in Dutch we call it scheef. When it's a little bit off. I don't like to be straight in line always too. I love to go my own way. So this fabric was allowed to go its own way. And it's only a little bit to the side, so it's not very clear. But for me it was just, the whole activity of making this was so much fun. I'm quite often in a creative hurry because there is so much I want to make, especially in this time of the year. I always have it, but especially in autumn and winter, I want to make all the things. And maybe I don't make enough time for just being creative with no special goal. Just be creative, and I forgot that quite often. And now this Friday afternoon I was doing this, and it was so flowing and so nice, and also such a good reminder to don't bring your Miss Perfect with you when you are doing this, because perfectionism is killing for my creativity when it's flowing. And my perfectionism is, sometimes it works out pretty good and it's very helpful, but not when I'm just doing things. Then it will the process won't flow. It's not a flowy feeling. So it was very important for me to don't do this perfect. It was not hard to do it perfect. I could grab my needle pins and pin it down and do it straight, but just allow me to do the things not perfect, to choose to do it not perfect. It feels very good. So it is. So now we only have a little bit left. I don't know when that will happen, but I really love it. It was really a heart jumping activity. And a good reminder to be creative. I shared it on Instagram and someone replied with, "Oh, just as we did when we were kids." And then I thought, oh yeah, just when we did when we were kids. As we did when we were kids. Just without no goal. Just be creative with just doing and see what happens. Yeah, that was really good. Yeah, I want to do that more often. Okay, then let me see. I have a beautiful skein of yarn. It's from Spain, from Barcelona. It was a gift from my girl, my 70-year-old daughter. She had a school trip to Barcelona a few weeks ago. I'm not sure if I already told about it. And she brought this lovely skein. They always bring, oh, I don't know the name, of course. The thing you can put on your fridge, we call a magnet. Is magnet just the English word? Is it so easy? It feels too easy, but maybe it isn't. A magnet as a souvenir. My two oldest kids and my husband, they always bring magnets, fridge magnets. It sounds a bit funny, but from the places they went as a souvenir for each other. So I don't like those things, so those are one of the first things I want to declutter, but I don't because they are not mine. But we have a spot, not on the fridge, but we have a spot in the kitchen where they hang all the magnets from all the places. And I must confess, it is quite fun to see. So I don't want to declutter them. It's not annoying, but I really love it. And I think it's really sweet. They bring one for their father every time. So their collection grows. But I said, why don't you bring some sock yarn from every city you visit? Because I can make you socks and you also have nice memories. But nah, I don't know. A magnet is easier than a skein of sock yarn, I guess. But my girl visited a museum and her teacher said, hey, look, there's a yarn store. And she said, oh, it was closed. But when she did visit, the visit was done, the yarn shop was open, and she visited the shop for some yarn, and she called me. She said, oh, they are not selling just normal sock yarn. It's all with nylon in it. And I said, oh, what's on the label? I think it was so hard jumping that she was reading all the labels. She said 75% merino and 25% nylon. I said, well, oh dear, that's okay for sock yarn. I always use sock yarn with a lot of with a part of nylon, and not always, but quite often. She said, okay, I have a lovely autumn color. She said, I think you will love it, but I won't tell which color. And she came home. It was this really bright pumpkin orange. I really love it. It's a very good autumn color. From the yarn shop, All You Need Is Love, and in the color Rufus, hand dyed in Barcelona is on the label. And now I want to make her a pair of socks, and she really wanted it, and she was changing her mind a few times, but now we discovered a lovely pattern by a Dutch designer, which I knitted socks from before. And I will knit the coffee and cable socks, and I will cake it up in a minute, and we'll start today, I guess, I hope, with knitting these lovely socks for her. So that's very nice, and she has the same size as I have, so when she doesn't like them or doesn't wear them as much as I hope, I can pick them. They can go into my sock basket. And there will be left over, because for our size I don't need a 100 gram skein. So yeah, very lovely and so sweet of her. And that was all I want to share. I also made quite some progress on my husband's cardigan. I didn't have it with me. I don't have it with me here. I will show it next week. I did split for the sleeve, so I am now at the body, and it's getting perfect, I guess. I really love the fabric. I really love the shape. So and I was allowed. I did allow myself, when I have split it for the sleeves, I could cast on something else. But now I did already cast on my Ariana, and now this pair of socks, and then I will work on those projects this week, I guess. And I am thinking about something. I have a sweater. Oh, there's so much I want to make, but I have not decided yet, but we will do quite soon. Okay, that was it for today. I hope I have enough edit time. I have an appointment this afternoon, and I will be home late, so I want to upload my episode before I leave, and I'm not sure if I will have enough edit time. So when it's a little bit how do you say it? A little bit empty here and there. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. I'm already happy when it's online in time. I wish you a very nice week with a lot of knitting and crochet time, and hopefully a lot of heart jumping moments. And thank you for watching. Thank you for your nice words as ever. And I hope to see you next week. Bye bye. Thank you.